All right, everybody. Good late morning. Let's hit it. Let's get back to these edge evaluations. And we are down to round 3. These are guys who are currently, by and large, projected to go somewhere in the third round. So there's a lot going on at the top of this edge class. We had 4 round 1 guys, we had 4 round 2 guys, and now we've got some round 3 guys. So there's no dead zone. There's no like, oh, there's nothing in this range of value. No, if you are drafting pretty much anywhere in this draft outside of the top 5, you have an edge pick that you can make that makes sense. In theory, maybe he doesn't fit exactly what you want, but in value, yes. So our first guy is going to be the other Penn State edge, not Chop Robinson. This is Adisa Isaac. Adisa Isaac, 22 years old when this season's going to start, 6'4", 247 pounds, 33 and 7/8 inch arms, so basically 34 inches, 9 and 5/8 hands. The testing was not as good as Chop, but it was okay. He had a nice vert, really good broad, okay 40-yard dash, average 10-yard split. So we're not super excited about that, but it's above average overall for sure. Definitely above average. Most of the big boards put him in the third. A couple put him in the second. Aggregate puts him at number 80 as of right now. So you can see the clear value here. And you look at his production. 2023 was a breakout year for him. 16 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks. He actually had better production than Chop, right? Like, he actually produced more than Chop Robinson. PFF grade, not that great compared to Chop. It's still good. 2022, he was all right, too. 11 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 63.7. Pretty good. Decent. So, Adisa Isaac, what's he bringing to the table as a player? He's really good with his hands, uses his hands well in the constant hand fighting that defensive linemen do with offensive linemen, takes control of the rep with his hands. He can play standing up or play with his hand in the dirt, so if you get him, you can have some degree of confidence that he'll be able to do 3-4 edge stuff and 4-3 edge stuff. He's got some counter moves he can whip out. When he's engaged with an offensive lineman, he's pretty good at being able to throw moves on top of moves to eventually win the rep. He's got a bull rush. It's a nice, strong bull rush. He's somebody who can win with power. He's got the burst to chase plays down. Like, if he's on one side of the defense and the running play stretching to the other side, he has the ability to go chase the play down. That's something that he did a good amount. That's where some of his tackles for loss come from. And he's got some notably good lateral quickness. He can run stunts and twists with his lateral quickness, and it also just kind of helps him in the open field. Now, the big issue I see with Isaac is that a lot of his sacks, a lot of his big plays, have come on plays where he's been unblocked. He's just racing in because the Penn State ran a stunt, Penn State ran an exotic blitz, and nobody covered him, and he just got in there for the sack. You will see that a lot on his tape. And it's a lot of simulated stuff, right? It's like, oh yeah, a lot of people could have gotten a sack on that play. So his ability to win mano a mano, don't know if it's there. His anchor is not that strong. If you try to run at him and you have offensive linemen going hat on hat with him, he can get pushed around a little bit. He doesn't anchor that well. He needs to get stronger just in general, I think. He seems to have a little bit of an issue reading plays and diagnosing plays and doing the right thing. His football IQ isn't where it needs to be quite yet. And he just doesn't have that twitch that you're looking for from a great edge rusher. So I think that there is obviously something good here. But when you don't have that twitch, it's really hard to be elite at this. You can still be good. You can be really good. But it's hard to be great when you don't bring twitch to the table here. And Adisa Isaac, I'm not really seeing it here. The testing numbers speak pretty truthfully here. So lower ceiling, he's got a lot to work on. I'm not that into him. I think he's a guy who flashes, but never actually builds consistency. I think that he will be like, oh, wow, that was a nice play. That was a nice bull rush. That was a nice chase down. That was a nice this or that. But I'm not super into this. I wouldn't jump on him till about the 4th round, maybe even the 5th, honestly, but I'll say 4th. There is some stuff here to like, but I don't like it enough to make him a day 2 pick. So I'm a little down on Adisa. Jonah Elliss is our next guy here. Utah Ute. 21, and that's something that I really come back to when I'm looking at these players in the draft. Are you young enough to where it's very believable you're going to get better, or are you 24 years old and already capped out? Jonah Elliss is not capped out. 6'2", 248, decent size. He is a little bit shorter, but sometimes that's good. 33-inch arms, 10.5-inch hands. Big boards. PFF puts him in the second, but all the others put him in the third. He is right around the third round of the aggregate as well. Really nice production last year. 16 tackles for loss, 12 sacks. Really good year for that Utah defense in 2023. 84.7 PFF grade, 37 tackles. Nice improvements over 2022. Clearly advanced his game to where he is now potentially a top 100 pick in this draft. And I do believe that he will be for sure. The thing that I really like about him, the main thing that stands out, are his wide range of moves. He's got all kinds of pass rush moves he can whip out. He's not just winning because, oh, I'm fast. Oh, I'm going to get around the edge here. Or I'm going to bully you with my bull rush. No, he's got a chop. He's got a swim. He's got a spin. He's got hand fighting moves he can bust out. He's got all kinds of things that he can throw at offensive linemen to beat them. And he's only 21. That's the thing. A lot of these 21-year-olds, edge rushers, when they come out, they're just speed. They just like, I'm going to get the edge or I'm done. No, Jonah Elliss has a wide variety of pass rush moves he can pull out. And that's something that's going to play to his advantage. Hard worker, plays until the whistle blows. No questioning his effort. Because he's only 6'2", that helps in the leverage battle, and he's always the low man pretty much. Understands how to get underneath the pads of offensive linemen. He's got a strong enough anchor to hold down the edge against the run. So the anchor is actually pretty strong. His lower body strength allows him to plant, and it's hard to move him. He's good with his hands, uses his hands really well. And he does actually have a quick first step. He didn't test, so we don't have numbers. But he does get his first step out quickly, and he gets the edge on a lot of offensive tackles. So he's bringing that ever-important trait to pass rushing. Now, he probably needs to get stronger. I'll say that. He needs to get a little bit stronger. I don't know if his strength is going to cut it in the NFL. I would like to see him add, even if it's just like a handful of pounds of muscle. He doesn't have bend. He does have first step quickness, but he doesn't have that pass rusher bend to be able to get up to the arc and then just kind of curve around the offensive lineman to get to the quarterback. So while he's pretty good at generating depth in the pocket, he sometimes struggles to get home because he doesn't possess that elite bend. Now, if he did, he'd be a much higher pick. Injuries have been a big problem for Jonah Elliss so far in his career. He's suffered non-trivial, I think it's actually neck injuries, if I recall correctly. So that's something that's no joke. That's something where it's like, oh, I got tapped funny. My career is over. And that's obviously a worst-case scenario, but it's something we have to take seriously here. His career could end early if the neck injuries keep piling up. And generally speaking, while I don't think he's a poor mover, it's not always fluid. It doesn't always look natural when he's in open space. It doesn't always look natural when he's moving around in open areas. So I like him a lot. I'm not 100% positive it'll be a great 3-4 outside linebacker fit. But Jonah Elliss does actually bring a lot of things to the table that I like. I like him a good amount more than the guy we just looked at, actually. And I see the top 100 value. So I like Elliss. I think he can do the 3-4 defense stuff. I think he's good enough all around to make up for his not so fluid movement. And I think some of the things that he's not so great at can get better. Like he can add a little more strength. So I would take the risk on him. I acknowledge that his movement skills are a little bit lacking, and that could be an issue with him dropping into coverage. But I mean, how often do outside linebackers really drop into coverage in a 3-4? Are we really going to worry about that much? I don't think he'll ever be a true star, but he can play the pass and the run. So he's an every down player. He's not somebody that you're like, oh, it's 3rd and 12, got to get him off the field. He can't rush the quarterback. Or it's 2nd and 2, or it's 3rd and 1, get him off the field. He can't play the run. No, he's an every down player potentially. Not that you want him out there for every play, but the point is, he can hold up and do it all. He can play the run pretty well. He can rush the passer pretty well. So I like that, and I think he's a third round pick. He might even be an early third round pick for me. So I like him a good amount. I think Jonah Elliss is going to build on this. He is, like I said, very young. He can get better, and I think he is an exciting prospect for any team that needs edge help in the third round. All right, so that is it for this collection. These two third round prospects. We got Jonah Elliss, and then we've got Adisa Isaac. Let me know what you think of these two. Let me know how you feel about them, and I'll be coming at you in a couple hours with another third round crop of edges. All right, peace out, Go Hawks. See you guys later today.